I know a lot of you know me by this voice, but fortunately for me, that's not my real voice. And for those of you who didn't know that, I'm sorry to have deceived you. It's just that when I started making videos, I found that people liked the Devin character more than me. And hell, honestly, I kinda like him more than myself too. But the main motivation behind why I created this channel, behind why I started putting material out there, was that I had a profound need to find like-minded people. And in a way, I did find that. I still naively thought, going into this, that there was a chance that there was a group of like-minded people out there, and that together we could all form a cool clubhouse and go and change things. Now, I think it's a little too late for that, but I don't mean to be negative and I don't mean to take away hope. I'm talking about, I don't think all of us could get together and vote to pursue our beliefs. I don't believe we are free in any country to do the types of things that I think people should do. But honestly, I'm glad I didn't find a group of people that were so similar, that we made a name for ourselves and gave ourselves some sort of label, some sort of ist or ism. I'm glad that there are so many of you who challenge my ideas or who share a similar perspective but have key differences in your beliefs. I found something better than just a cool club that I could join where everybody thought like I did. I found you guys and a path to something much more important, and I'm glad for that. I had all these ambitions about growing my channels as much as I could, but let's be real, that's not gonna play out the way I want it to. I don't think time is on our side. Frankly, I'm surprised I haven't been shut down yet, but it's definitely been a blessing, and I'm glad that I'm here now while making this video. And if you're watching this, I'm glad that you're watching this. I mainly wanted to create material to find like-minded people, but I didn't find 100% validation. I didn't find some group that labeled itself some ist or ism waiting for me with open arms, inviting me into their clubhouse, and I'm glad I didn't find that. There really is a point where the people who get to the top, those people that are allowed to reach an audience of hundreds of thousands, of millions, they are kept under guard. And if they don't play along, things happen to them, like they get silenced, or they get targeted, or their channels become frozen, or one of a million things happens to crush them. I had hopes of doing nothing but creating material. I intended to grow my audience to a point where I could depend on the income from them and from ad revenue. And honestly, that might have been fun for all of us. In an ideal world, I might have gone on to animate and make content for years. And in fact, I wish I had started this years ago. I wish I had started this so much earlier. But I don't believe that that's allowed anymore. I don't believe that that's an option. People are getting shut down for talking about the censorship that's taking place. Videos about censorship are being censored. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I have friends and family that believe none of what I'm talking about. And I have friends and people whose insights I value who disagree with me about this to some degree, or about key points of what I'm about to say. But I believe that part of this control system, that the linking between your DNA, your body, and currency, and your history, it's a control system. It's part of a control scheme. And I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm done trying to convince anyone else of any of this. What I want to say is that taking steps to prepare for what I believe, by acting on what I believe to be true, the fog in my mind has cleared up a little. That the despair that's been weighing me down has started to become mitigated. Whatever you believe about this situation we're facing, I hope you also believe in it enough to prepare accordingly. I'm preparing for a multitude of possibilities as much as I can. There are very much going to be rough times ahead, and I don't believe they're far off. And as pathetic and greedy as this sounds, if you believe that I might be right, or if you are willing to help me out and can do so without shorting yourself, then please do so. I'm planning to have to get through things such as food shortages and more, and I'm afraid that being too specific will get me shut down even quicker. I don't want to give you some victim narrative, some sob story meant to manipulate you into giving me cash. For a little more than a year, I've been seeing positive growth with my channel. I enthusiastically kept doubling down on creating content. I figured that even though things might get tight for a while, the payoff would be worth it. To be able to afford being creative for a living, that's a pretty good gig. But now, the dynamic has changed. I don't believe that's a tenable position any longer, and I find myself lacking the means to decently prepare for rough times. I'm setting up some ways to accept donations other than Patreon, and I'm also looking into setting up ways to receive survival-related material from donors and supporters in the next few days. I want to be as transparent as possible, and I'm not necessarily interested in cash. Anyway, for those of you who do decide to support me, you have my gratitude. And those of you who are already doing so, you are quite possibly, most likely, literally lifesavers. And what you have done for me means the world to me. Anyway, I need to mention something. I've painted a very dark picture, for sure. And in many of my videos, I make the terrible mistake of solely focusing on the negative. I never intended to do this, but for whatever reason, I oftentimes create a very disturbing image of things to come. Well look, I don't claim to have the solution. That's almost beside the point. This situation isn't something I believe one can choose to perceive. This isn't something someone can negotiate with by saying things like, I can't believe you because all you're doing is talking about a problem without giving me a solution. If you're in a plane and the captain tells you the thing's going down, are you going to tell him he must be wrong because he hasn't given you a solution? If you come across a man being attacked by a bear, do you walk away and pretend you never saw it because the man didn't give you a solution? If you take away anything from this video, let it be this. The people at the top, the people most willingly and eagerly assisting the beast, they're never going to get exactly what they want. For a time, they may have something close to control or victory, or they may win over some of or many of us. But either way, no matter what, they are going to fail. I promise you that. We might feel like small people, like we don't have any real power or the means to defeat this nightmare, but we do. It's just, it might be in a manner that we don't foresee. By our very nature, by the nature of this whole play, the people who manage to say no to the system are the biggest threat to it. The people who exist outside of it, who refuse to give in to it, they will be the spring from which the system's downfall will come. Perhaps not entirely, and perhaps not on our own, but I promise you the people who feel the most powerless right now are the ones who will do the most damage to this abomination. I know that this video isn't exactly uplifting, that my mood isn't light and upbeat, but it's part of a transformation. I'm about to radically alter my approach to the way I discuss things in my videos, and simply making this video and getting it out there is and has helped me immensely. In the coming days, I intend to tell you a grand story as best as I can, and I won't just leave you hanging with a bad picture painted in front of you. Rather than give the system power by presenting it as an all-powerful thing with an inevitable agenda, I will address the pathetic nature of its biggest puppets. I will belittle the most powerful people on the planet as much as I can, because they are truly a pathetic and weak bunch. I am scared of what's coming. and I am saddened by the way things have already been playing out. But I haven't given up hope, and I'm done discouraging myself and others. Thank you all for everything that you do, and I hope to see you guys on the other side. I'll talk to you soon.